Are you struggling in your wrap shop to relinquish and delegate the installation portion of the process, or do you find that the timeline to train an individual is just too great? In this video, I wanted to go over a singular change that I made in my shop that I learned from a good friend of mine, and it increased my productivity in my shop by probably close to 50%. Not adding any more installers, as well as increased the rate of speed in which we actually onboarded new wrap installers. So, what increased my productivity by 50% in my vehicle wrap shop, very specifically in installation? And that essentially was changing my pay structure to performance-based pay rather than paying per hour, and essentially not rewarding the installer for being progressive or being productive. Pay per hour hinders that person to be, if they are money driven, to be motivated to work faster. And instead, it's just constantly you chasing everybody else saying, hey, we need to meet these deadlines, blah, 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 blah. And so we'll hop right into 3 reasons why I feel that performance-based pay is imperative as a wrap shop, very specifically for your install team. So reason number 1 is you attract people who are driven and accountable. When you go to performance-based pay, it is, as it states, performance-based pay. Therefore, if they're not doing a good job, it's going to affect their bottom line, not just yours. And I feel that's one of the biggest lacking components in many shops is accountability, whether it's accountability to self, accountability to the team, accountability to your standards, etc. But in this case, it directly affects the individual that's installing. Therefore, they are accountable for the total project as a whole. They are accountable for the outcome of the vehicle wrap project that they are working on, as well as the timeline that is completed in. So essentially, the only thing that you as the shop owner need to worry about is the deadline in itself. As long as the job is on deadline and it meets QC inspections, you're good. What's also really nice about performance-based pay is I have a document, for example, where whenever a new installer comes in my shop and I decide to hire them, immediately they're handed 2 pieces of paper. The first piece of paper has a roadmap to $100,000 or roadmap to 100K. The second piece of paper has the installer level outline. And so I have levels 1 through 5 of installers. And on that, I also have a minimum time threshold and a maximum time threshold. This means that a level 1 installer understands the accountability whenever they are first hired, that they have minimum 30 days in this position or maximum 60 days. If they cannot become a level 2 installer in 60 days, you're fired and terminated because we're both wasting our time. Now that sounds harsh, but realistically, the worst thing you can do is have a slow, long, dragged out firing process. They either have it or they don't, and it's your job to provide them the tools and resources to ensure their success if they do have it. And if they don't, they might be able to learn. But 60 days is plenty enough to decide whether or not that's a possibility. And then from there will be a 15, 30-day, 45-day, and 60-day accountability meeting in which they will show to you their characteristic traits of whether they are coachable or not. Now, Level 2, there's another time period. Level 3, it's probably the longest time period that there is. Level 4 is more of a leadership role, and level 5 currently in my business is I will help owner finance a location for you. We currently have one of those in place. So it is a possibility that is real. So I'm not just blowing smoke towards the team and saying, smoke and mirrors, hey, give me all this, And so level 5 is a real tangible thing that I can show a level 1 if they put in the work, right? And then I even intentionally try to plug them over at the other shop to make sure that they understand that it's not smoke and mirrors. So the second reason that I believe performance-based pay is a complete game changer for your wrap business is because I no longer have to promote my team. I don't have to say, hey, at the end of the year, I'm going to do a performance review, which we do try to have conversations around, but the team is no longer waiting on me to give them a promotion. So the moment that they switch from level 2 to a level 3 installer, so obviously we're paying per hour up front, but there is again the ulterior side of minimum time threshold. You can become a commission-based installer in 2 months in my company if you got it. And if you're just a straight killer, and so I put that there in place to where the accountability on the company side is that if they can pass to become a level 3 installer, then we then convert them to a commission and reward them. And then from there, we will continue to develop and grow them into hopefully a leadership position because they will be coaching up other people below them. And I can't really advise your shop as to how you should pay performance-based pay But what I can tell you is that you want your overall labor on your profit and loss ledger to be around 25%. So depending on the numbers in your business will tell you what you can pay as a commission. So in my shop, we tried to make it more vehicle based to where this vehicle pays X. I got that from Bradford Palmer Trade Reps. Again, he's actually the fella who outlined this for me. And then I just took me a while and I took it and I ran with it. And once I did, it's been amazing. So essentially each vehicle will pay X, okay? This means that from now on moving forward, let's just say a mid-roof transit will pay $600. It will not cost you as a business any more than $600 moving forward. So essentially, let's just say a Greenhorn installer, if it took them 4 days to install a vehicle, then they would make approximately $18.75 an hour. Now, as more productive and efficient with their time, and they can reduce the drag or friction that it takes to install the vehicle, and they can get down to a 3-day timeline, they're now making $25 an hour. If they can knock it out in 16 business hours or 2 days, then they would be at $37.50 an hour. And then obviously once you get to where you're a rock star and you're knocking out one full vehicle in 12 hours or so, then you're at the $50 an hour mark. So what's cool is I've broken this down on my road to 100K to where it's like, hey, you could either throw more hours at this or you can get more efficient or both. And it kind of shows the math behind each one of those. We want people to grow, and we're rewarding them directly based on their output rather than, hey, I'm gonna give you a quarter raise for this month because, hey, I thought you did a good job, blah, blah, blah. I just don't feel like that's very good retention. It wouldn't work for me as a very motivated and driven individual, and I rather would have killers on my team than mediocre people just there to for a secure paycheck. That's just me. So essentially, obviously, when you go to reward-based pay, you need to make sure that you're filling in the pipeline as much as possible. So you need to build out your marketing and sales machine to ensure that you have work for them. However, what's very interesting is not everybody's driven by money. Some people are actually driven by the liberty of their schedule. So the first time, this story is essentially the first time I've seen performance-based pay in action on a W-2 standpoint, which was at Trade Wraps. I was installing 2 mid-roof Sprinter vans for a marketing agency on the fly. Brad allowed me to work out of his shop and rent his bay, and as an emergency job, flew out to Virginia, and it's Friday night, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now, naturally, I'm the owner of my business, so I'm working hard like we all do, right? 2 of his installers were in his shop that night on a Friday night knocking out their projects. And then I come back Saturday and I see the print room running and I see the same 2 installers again working on Saturday. And I asked Brad, I was like, how you got your guys up here on Friday nights and Saturdays? He's like, dude, my guys make their own schedule. I don't care when they come in as long as the job is done by the deadline. And I was like, that is such a cool culture play. I didn't even look at it as the incentivization of them increasing their money, but the team can make their own calendar and have their own, they're basically, the team essentially can have their own agency on getting the work done and at the timeline that they please. So if they prefer working nights or if they want Monday off, in this case that was the case, that they wanted Monday off, and so they worked over the weekend to make sure that they freed up the schedule for Monday. Everything was already done in advance. And I just thought that was really cool. And so the moment that I switched to performance-based pay, I realized that not only did my profitability go up a tick, just slightly, because I'm fixing my labor rate now for my installations, my payroll did go up, but my output dramatically increased. And so we recently had 2 guys on 14 trucks and they knocked it out in like 6 days and full coverage wraps. And it's because both those guys, they're killers, they're hunters. They like hunting and knocking down work for a bigger paycheck. Now I got another guy who likes to work a little extra and take more time off. Fantastic. Whatever drives that individual, this type of system allows for that. So I just wanted to share what I believe to be a major attributor to increasing the production, very specifically on the installation side of your company, which is performance-based pay. I'll leave you with another example I saw is in one of our coaching calls with Torque, Derek Gade and Brent Tatum, 2 different wrap companies, also implemented their performance-based pay. One of them, I believe, actually lost their main wrap guy, but then another guy stepped up and took over everything and his output went crazy. And the guy's making more money than he's ever made on the team, and also they're pushing out just the same amount of work with less people. In the case of the other, it was a very interesting situation where he has, I believe, 3 or 4 wrap installers. They stay very busy. And one of the guys loves taking cars apart. And so when you go performance-based or commission-based pay, it can create a very selfish culture. So be very careful with how you build your compensation plans. But essentially, because that project has a specific amount of dollars tied to it, then the business does not dictate what the split is between two guys working on it. Instead, if you allow for the teammates to separate, okay, the job pays 600, I'll do this panel, you do that panel, or I'll do the bumpers, I'll give you 200 out of the 600 to knock out the bumpers, I'll do the side. Whatever it may be, they pre-agree that that is the split before they start. And so in this case, this shop owner told me that one guy is the disassembly guy and they just pay him out of the commission for that, and so he just disassembles and assembles all day. One guy loves doing bumpers, and so everybody outsources to him on the team for bumpers, and then the third guy just takes whatever, main body portions of the vehicle. I just found that very interesting that it played to the strengths of the individuals rather than, hey, just wrap the whole car, etc. So if you're looking to increase the output of your team, create more opportunity for your teammates, highly recommend performance-based pay. It is a game changer, at least it was for me. I don't have any more data other than myself. I don't claim it's going to fix all your problems. However, I can tell you that it greatly impacted myself as well as a couple other businesses that have put it in place, and the person who put me onto this game has been doing it for years, and his installers are incredibly happy, incredibly loyal, and they get it done. So I feel that there's plenty of data to support this, and if you're scared at all to implement this, book a call. I'm happy to help. Now, if you don't know your numbers and you're trying to figure out what you should pay your team, don't use my numbers. You need to run the numbers and see what your business can afford and or should pay to where it does not greatly impact you on the bottom line. It should be a win-win situation. So I do have another video where you can start to dial in your numbers, and it even has a free spreadsheet attached to it. So the link will be up here in the corner. Click that, give that a watch, download the spreadsheet, start to dial in your numbers, figure out what you can pay, and hopefully this helps increase the productivity within your wrap shop as well. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.